Hello, Dougs and Duggets. Welcome back to WWE 2K16 Universe Mode, episode 19. Obviously, last week we saw Dean Ambrose get his win back on Dolph Ziggler, but as I mentioned, that still doesn't change the fact that Dolph Ziggler did, in fact, defeat Dean Ambrose at Money in the Bank, but Ambrose is going to be looking past that now. He's going to be looking to WWE Lunatic in Your House. He's going to be looking directly at his own pay-per-view, and he's going to be thinking, will I take on Dolph Ziggler? What's going to happen? You know what I mean? There's so much going on for Ambrose at this point. You got Samoa Joe, you got Sami Zayn, you've got Dolph Ziggler, and hell, even Chris Jericho could be lurking in the shadows somewhere. I don't think we've seen him since the loss that he took at Payback, but things could change within these next few days. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, Dolph Ziggler is riding a wave of momentum. Hell, he may even be looking at a world title shot down the line due to the fact he has had such dominating performances over Dean Ambrose in recent weeks. And here comes the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. And his adversary for the evening, Dolph Ziggler, still sporting that. Well, I don't really have the words to describe it. I'll just say it's a very out there attire. I think Dolph can pull it off, though. Obviously, as we know, Ziggler enjoys showing off, and look at that face of Ambrose. That is the face of a man who believes he was robbed of that matchup at Money in the Bank, but hey, you can't argue with Ziggler. Ziggler did beat him clean. He beat him in the middle of the ring. No shenanigans. It was a pretty much legitimate victory that Dolph now holds over Ambrose on a pay-per-view. On the other hand, Dean Ambrose has not defeated Ziggler on a pay-per-view so far, so I think that's going to weigh on the mind of Ambrose until he does, or maybe he will never defeat Ziggler on pay-per-view. We don't know. We're going to find out because we have no confirmation whether it will be a Ziggler versus Ambrose matchup at WWE Lunatic in Your House. We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and find out. And Ambrose commencing with the headbutts now. And I think Dolph Ziggler may be thrown off his game a little. Obviously, he had that win at Money in the Bank, but then he lost last week on Raw. I don't know who's got the worst mindset at this point, because both men sustaining quite embarrassing losses. Not to say that they will never live it down, but you got to think in the short term that those losses are gonna affect both men due to the fact that they're trying to one up each other each and every week. They're trying to pull out new and exciting moves and put on the best quality matches we've seen in the WWE Universe mode. And obviously Ambrose has been embroiled with Chris Jericho in the past, and Ambrose and Jericho put on a few classic matches. And Ziggler obviously looking to pretty much recreate the magic, or create his own magic with Ambrose to try and put on some incredibly high quality matches. And so far both men have excelled. They've pretty much... Oh, nice slam by Ziggler. They pretty much just helped each other. They've been catalysts for each other's careers at this point in Universe mode, because they have both outshined most other matches on the card. As we know, these two are the workhorses of WWE, and they're proving it here tonight, and Ambrose moves out of the way. Obviously, we're coming up to episode 20 soon of Universe mode. It has been a hell of a ride. And for those who are new to the series, you got to go back. You got to check out what you've missed so far. Ambrose has been put into pretty much the proverbial ringer. He has had to jump hoops and hoops. He's faced the likes of Chris Jericho, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and obviously Samoa Joe, who has returned from injury. He was on NXT this past week. Teamed up with Finn Balor to take on the team of Baron Corbin and Adam Rose. And here we go, Dean Ambrose. The rebound, the lariat. Now Ambrose maybe looking to put Ziggler away. Obviously, if we remember last week on Raw, Dolph Ziggler was a bloody mess. His face was a crimson mask, to say the least. A drop kick to the leg doesn't phase Ziggler much, so I don't think Ambrose got all of that. And the short arm clothesline takes Dolph down. And now Ambrose gonna... Oh, and again! Ziggler is busted open again. And I think Ambrose reopened the cut from last week because it's pretty much exactly in the same position as it was last week on Raw. And Ziggler is firing him up. The sight of his own blood. Some people don't like it. Sometimes it affects the performance in a match. But in Ziggler's case, Ziggler is fired up. He's feeling it. And he maybe the blood could help Ziggler in this matchup. Maybe it could give him the drive and the fire that he needs to win. But at this point, it looks like it may be another win in the column for Ambrose, because he has found Dolph Ziggler's weakness. That head, Dolph has suffered a ton of concussions in the past, and Ambrose is going to exploit those head injuries in every way he can and follows it up with a bionic elbow. Yet again, focusing on the head. And Ambrose with that spinning elbow drop. Almost reminiscent of a Dolph Ziggler elbow drop. And now Ambrose turning Ziggler over, looking for it. Looking for the submission. Is he going to make Ziggler tap out? And Ambrose so close. You can just see Ziggler fading away, and Ambrose knows that Ziggler's got a lot of fight in him. I think that's the one thing Ambrose would probably agree with me on, is that Ziggler, if you love Ziggler or you hate him, it doesn't really matter, because the guy has got fight. He's got the drive to be the best. And obviously the same could probably be said for Ambrose, because... Oh, wait a minute. We talked about exploiting the head. And... Oh, Ambrose drops him with a DDT on the apron. My God. Just see the way Ziggler's neck... Almost... Oh my... Jeez, just look at Ziggler. He is completely out of it. And yet again, that blood dripping on the chest. This is a violent side of Dean Ambrose. Yes, we've seen his brawling style, but we've never seen here, or at least in WWE, we've never seen Ambrose be this violent, be this vicious in the ring. But he's showing that he can be here tonight. Obviously, if you followed Ambrose's independent career in promotions such as CZW, you know what this man is capable of inside a squared circle, and drops the elbow on the heart of Dolph Ziggler. And the more Ambrose hits Ziggler in said heart, the more the guy is going to bleed, and he is going to bleed everywhere. He's already doing a pretty good job of that right now, and Ziggler goes straight on the outside. Ambrose is going to waste no time in this matchup. He's not going to make any mistakes, or at least he's going to try not to, because we all know how crafty Dolph Ziggler is, and how the veteran-like instincts of Dolph will kick in eventually. Dolph will use those instincts to continue to power through, and those were the instincts I was talking about right there. As Ziggler now finding his way back into this match. He's finding every single solitary chance to get back in this matchup. And you can't blame Ziggler for trying to get back into this matchup. And Ambrose, hot shot on the top rope. And now Ambrose, we took too long to capitalize, and kick to the gut. Ambrose lifting up Ziggler. Ziggler, though, from behind. And a German suplex by Ziggler. And now stomping on the arm of Ambrose. He knows that Ambrose fists, his arms, probably the most lethal weapon on this man. And Ambrose may be now looking to get the victory, finally put Ziggler away, but Ziggler still, as I mentioned, with that fight and that drive that not a lot of superstars have, or at least they don't have it to the extent that Ziggler does. And Ziggler's face, I believe, is worse than last week. Ziggler is bleeding everywhere. And Ambrose, showdown clothesline, takes Ziggler down. And Ambrose now looking down at the shattered remains of Ziggler. And Ziggler's face, my goodness, just look at it. And into the turnbuckle. And just look, Ziggler's lifeless body. He's getting up to his feet, but he's on spaghetti legs. And Ambrose, the final nail in the coffin for Ziggler. The dirty deeds. And my goodness, the vicious, violent side of Dean Ambrose has come to play. And Ambrose picking up yet another impressive win over Ziggler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of WWE 2K16 Universe Mode. Yet again, we get closer to WWE Lunatic in your house. And the Lunatic is indeed going to be there. It is his pay-per-view. It is his domain. But who is he going to face? That is the question. Will Ziggler even be able to compete? That's the question I have. And hopefully for Ziggler, if he's smart, he will not bother showing up to Lunatic in your house. Thank you for watching Dogs and Dugouts. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe if you're not already. And peace out, and I will see you at the pay-per-view.